What is going on, mortals? Mortal T here, and today we're back on Ark Survival Evolved on the Fjordur map. Now today I am going to be showing you mortals all the spawn locations for the Desmodus. It's the giant bat, basically. That is what I'm going to call it from now on. It's the giant bat, because it is a giant bat. And I'm probably because I'm not pronouncing its real name properly. But yeah, all the spawn locations on this map you can grab these from. Now there is only certain locations that these do spawn at, and all of them are in caves. Some of the caves can be very dangerous because all the cave creatures that tend to spawn in caves, obviously. But there is one or two places that I'm going to show you that it is going to be kind of easy to get your hands on one of these giant bats. But the rest of them are going to be dangerous locations. So I'm going to be showing you those first. I am currently at the first location. Well, the entrance to the first location. This is it. This is the cave that we need to go into. Now, on the map, as you can see, we're just on the left hand side on the small swamp island. That's what I call it. This reminds me of a swamp. So that is where we are. If you don't know where this cave is by now, the coordinates are really simple. It's 49.4, 14.2. Now this cave can be extremely dangerous because it is a swamp cave. That means there's going to be like titan boas and meganina and just other bad stuff that tend to spawn in these swamp caves. Now, to find these giant bats, you're going to want to look on the ceilings. Now, you don't have to go too far into any of these caves to actually find these giant bats. They don't tend to be deep into caves. They're usually roughly near the entrance. So as you can see, if we just look up right now, we can actually see one right there in front of us. It is right there, exactly where my crosshairs are. Usually there'll be 2 or 3. I think the least you can get is like 2 spawn in. But they usually do tend to spawn in quite big groups. 2 is the least. I don't know how much is the most. No, I think I've seen about 6 at most. Yeah. So there's one there. And there's one there. You can barely see these. Sometimes these can blend in to the cave ceilings very, very good, so you can just don't see them. If we got 3, there's one just where my crosshairs are right now. You can see that I'm just pooped. So in order to obviously get up to these, you're going to need some kind of system. I have got a grappling hook just to try and check out the levels of these guys. So we can actually go up. There you go, level 55. Now I have been looking for a really high level one of these for a good long time now, and I haven't seen like anything above like a 95. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, I haven't seen anything over a level 95, so keep that in mind. What's that? 20, yeah. And boom. Over here. There is another one up there. You can just about see it. But I doubt it's any gonna think. Let me just do this easily. So yeah, these are kind of like glitched into the scene as well. So keep that in mind. But that is the first location. I've got a bunch more locations to show you more, so don't you worry if you think that one may be a bit dangerous for you to get. But most of these are, well, all of these are on high ceilings, but that's the first location out of the way. Let's move on to the next one. So here we are at the next location, mortals. As you can see, there is a cave behind me full of a load of bad stuff. So we are over on the volcano island, as you can see in the bottom right hand side of the map. And the coordinates to the entrance of this cave is 90.8, 78.3. Now this is a really small cave. It does contain an artifact as well, but as you can see, we have scorpions, titan boas spiders, all the usual cave creatures that you usually get. But as you run along here, just check the ceilings, because this is where obviously they spawn, and you'll have to keep an eye out. I believe we've only got 2 in this cave though, so as you can see, they're just hanging from this massive archway right here. So there's one right there where my crosshairs are, and one right there as well. They will not spawn inside this cave. They will not spawn here. They just won't. Believe me on that. They won't spawn there. They'll only spawn in like this passageway. So as you can see, only got 2 here. That's a level 60. And that's also a level 60. So that's the second location. Probably a bit easier. It's not so deep, and you've only got this passageway to come through. Yes, it is going to be filled with all the bad stuff, but maybe a bit easier to get to. But with that location out of the way, let's move on to the next one. So here we are at the next location, models. The cave behind me. We're going to go pretty deep into this one, to be fair. On the map here we are, we're over on the left hand side, roughly in the corner, roughly about on the 90 mark. The coordinates are 86.1, 5.6. So we're gonna go pretty deep in here. You're gonna have to go all the way down, follow these stairs all the way down, come to the right, and come to this big bridge that spans this massive opening. Now, these guys are going to be spawning on the ceiling, but only in a certain location. Now, these ones in this cave can be particularly hard to see, especially if you don't know where you're looking. Because the ceiling on this cave is pretty high, it's usually shadowed in darkness. Now, the only way, obviously, to do this is to light it up and actually have a look. But as you can see, I just flew through a glow stick and it didn't even reach. So you're going to have to get high up there. But take my word for it, they are up there. They're just really, really high. So I'm going to shoot a grapple. Even the grappling is refusing to stick. So I've got my grappling to stick right here. And now I'm going to throw lights everywhere. Like I said, this cave can be very deceiving. The ceiling of it can be very deceiving, because it really doesn't look that far away from me, but it kind of is still. Look how far that's been thrown, and it still hasn't managed to stick. But the bats are up here. They're just beyond my reach. You can just about see the ears right there of one. Right here where my crosshairs are. As you can see, there is a bat, and even higher up, if the light sticks, can I get it to stick? No. I can get it to stick here, and maybe there. No, but as you can see, there are giant bats in this cave. They're just really, really high up and pretty darn hard to get. So keep that in mind when you're looking, trying to find one. I would not recommend this location just because these are so high up and they're just so difficult to try and get to unless you've got some kind of flyer. But with that location out of the way, mortals, let's move on. Here we are at the next location, mortals. This location is pretty hard to get to, and it is also extremely dangerous. In order to get access to this cave, you're going to have to go pretty deep underwater. So let me try and quickly go through it for you, mortals, just so you can see exactly where we actually are. So as you can see, we're pretty deep under the water right here, and if we come out, we are located right here. Let me quickly show you on the map exactly where we are. So we're over on the left hand side yet again, near these snowy mountains. The coordinates to where I am is 71.3, 1.1. If we go down, this is the actual entrance to the cave, and we just want to swim all the way through there until we pop out of the water. And you see this giant crystal. It's a bit foggy in here. Be careful this is an entrance to a cave, so there are going to be spiders and scorpions and all the bad stuff you tend to usually get, but we're going to want to go all the way up. So you're going to need a grappling hook just to get through this anyway. We're going to go all the way up and keep coming until we see this hole in the floor. Go through it. And as soon as we turn around, we are just greeted with just a mess of monsters that usually hang out in caves that just want to kill you. Can you just see how much has actually spawned here? So yeah, this cave is extremely dangerous, because as soon as you get into this open bit, you're gonna start coming across these guys, which are extremely dangerous and poisonous. But as soon as we step through this archway, we can look up and you will notice that there are bats hanging from the ceiling, and that is what we want to see. And honestly, these are some of the best looking bats just because they got really cool colors. Oh, there's a 150 male bat. That's pretty cool, and its colors are really nice. That's an 85 male. Pretty cool and blood and pink looking. Pretty cool. Over here we have a vibrant colored one. Very cool. That's a level 50. And then one right up here, a level 55, just plain looking. So yeah, this cave extremely dangerous just because of all the cave creatures that just swarm in here. It's absolutely ridiculous. But you only have to come to this point to get your hands on one of these bats. But Mortals, with them ones out of the way, I'm going to be showing you two locations I think are the best locations just because they're less dangerous. And when it's less dangerous, they're usually easier to get. So let's get on to those locations. So here we are at the next location, Mortals. It's literally just right behind me. You might recognize this place because of this fantastic stone formation and these really beautiful green crystals. So right behind me is an entrance to a cave that has a bunch of these giant bats. On the map, as you can see, we're still on the snowy mountain biome, which is pretty darn cool. And the coordinates are 66.3, 40.4. What we're going to do, we're just going to follow this stretch of water down, and on our right hand side is the opening to the cave. We're just going to go through the opening and into here. So obviously cave creatures are going to spawn here, but because it's so open, it's just so cool, and the way it glows up, and also you can definitely get a flyer through this entrance and into this massive open cave. Now the whole ceiling in this place basically will have an opportunity to spawn one of these giant bats, so make sure you check the entire ceiling. As you can see, we've got two right above me right now. That's pretty cool, and just keep checking all the way around just so you don't miss any whatsoever. Like I said before, they can blend in with the ceiling pretty darn well, so you really do have to look kind of hard to try and spot them, to try and make them out. But as you can see, I've come across 4 more that are right here as well. So as you can see, just from me going around this cave, we got a few bats, spiders, maybe a scorpion or two. As you can see right there, maybe a snake or two. But as for me right now, there isn't actually a lot of bad stuff that tends to spawn in here. You get a few here and there. It might be different for you Mortals if you're playing on some type of server or something. The spawns might be different, but this is to me one of the easiest locations. Yes, the ceiling is pretty darn hard to try and get to, but just because you really can get a flyer through that entrance, and the land that it's on is pretty darn flat, so you could even try and build up to try and get one of these. It's so easy to do. This is one of the best locations. the next location, mortals, is by far the easiest and the best, just because you don't have to build anything. The ceiling's pretty low, it's pretty easy to get to them, and there's nothing bad that tends to spawn at the next location. So this is my top location to get your hands on the giant bats. So here we are near the entrance to the next location, mortals. We're in a beautiful bit of countryside right here. So on the map, I've already marked this on my map because it is my favorite location. As you can see, it's the red dot along with my blue spinning icon right there. Where I am exactly, the coordinates are 38.5, 74.8. Now usually you wouldn't come across this entrance to this cave if you weren't actually looking for it. You have to be looking for this place in order to find it. You will, well, if you're really lucky, you might stumble across this accidentally if you're in this kind of area. But this place is kind of hidden, and a lot of people don't tend to explore like little shallow waters like this. But this is where you will find the entrance. So we're going to be looking at this double waterfall right here, and this is where we're going to go. So we're going to go into it, and we're going to go to the bigger waterfall on the left hand side. There is going to be a rock that you can climb up onto, and we go through the waterfall into this cave. As you can see, nothing bad has spawned on the ground, but as we walk through this cave, you're gonna come across an absolute ton of bats. As we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We got 6 in here. I think this is the most I've seen spawn at once. As you can see, the ceiling is pretty darn low. Nothing for me has spawned in here because I don't think this technically passes as like a bad cave or a cave where the usual cave creatures tend to spawn. But ceiling is pretty low, so you can use your grappling hook to get up to these if you want. That's a level 100. Just easy pickings. This is a level 20, so we've got a male and female over that side. What's over here? 95 male over here, 15 male over there, and these two up front. We've got a level 15 female and a level 135 female. So mortals, like I said, I believe this is the best location that you mortals can get your hands on one of these cool giant bats. But I hope you enjoy the rest of the locations. Maybe you just want to explore them just to find if they come in some really cool colours or something. It's entirely up to you. I hope it helps. I hope you enjoy going around exploring all these crazy locations that these guys spawn in. And I'll hopefully see you mortals in the next video.